This is the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour, supported by Albertsons and broadcasting live from Sidecar Social at the Star in Frisco. Brought to you by Miller Lite, the only beer of the Cowboys. Tastes like Miller time. Albertsons in Tom Thumb, the official supermarket and pharmacy of the Dallas Cowboys. Luke KC, the official bootmaker of the Dallas Cowboys. Blockchain.com, make your crypto play today. Buffalo Wild Wings. If it's game day, Buffalo Wild Wings is the place to be. Altec Lansing. Just listen with Altec Lansing, perfecting sound since 1927. And by Omni. Omni Hotels and Resorts, the official hotel of the Dallas Cowboys. Now, your hosts, Nicole Hutchison and Brad Shan.
And welcome, everybody, to the Cowboys Hour at Sidecar Social. Thank you very much for coming out to Sidecar Social. Another difficult game, but we are going to have a good time tonight anyway with Cowboys safety Malik Hooker, who it just let us know he's less than 5 minutes away. So he'll be making a dramatic Hollywood-style entrance in just a moment. But we do thank all of you who have come out to be with us here. We always appreciate seeing you. And one of these days, we'll crank that Victory Monday sign up again. Not today. But
hopefully next week.
Except then it'll be Victory Tuesday.
Yeah, same thing. Still a victory.
Same exact sentiment, which is a great opportunity for us to remind you that next week, obviously, the Cowboys are playing on Monday night. So we will be here, Nicole and I, on Tuesday night after the Cowboys play the Houston Texans. So thank you for everyone who has joined us around the Dallas Cowboys radio network and wherever and whenever you are streaming us on DallasCowboys.com. How y'all is? Nice to see you. Another difficult day.
Another difficult day.
How does it affect your next day?
It doesn't. I still have to produce my show that airs on Bally Sports. Go ahead and check it out, Cowboys Flashback. I still have to produce it the same way. Whatever happens in the game, I got to talk about it. So, yeah, nothing changes at all.
And the post-game show goes about the same?
Yeah, same thing. I actually wasn't on post-game yesterday because I had to do a couple of interviews in locker room for Flashback. But, post-game still goes on the same way. You talk about what happened, and then you try to move on from it.
So I don't have time to get from where we are on the radio to get down to the locker room. What was the locker room like?
It was hard. I could tell or sense the frustrations from a couple of the guys. I spoke with DeMarvion Overshone yesterday and asked him, how do you move forward from, losses like these? And he said, you just got to start as if it's 0-0. You guys are 1-0 each week. You try to shift the mindset a little bit, but it is hard for them. I mean, those are the losses that you don't ever want to have to go through. So, you just got to take it week by week. Yeah,
you can tell. I've been in enough locker rooms. You can tell even into the week when things aren't going well, guys are more somber. They're a little less chipper. Now, the nature of what they have to do right along the line of what you're talking about is that by Wednesday, they've got to have turned the page because it's time for the next one. And you can't let one bad game become two bad games. And they're struggling right now. They're fighting with injuries and a bunch of other things. But there's a half season to play, and you just don't know what can happen. I'm not saying I think anything supernatural is going to occur. I'm just saying you don't know.
Yeah.
And if you didn't believe that, look at some of the results in college and pro football. Yes, did you watch any college football Saturday?
No, I was actually hosting a pregame kickoff show in Mississippi for Jackson State, Mississippi Valley State as well, so I didn't get a chance to watch anything.
So if anybody saw the end of the Utah Brigham Young game or the Missouri-Oklahoma game, or yesterday the Sunday night game or the Kansas City blocking a field goal to get away from the – you don't know. You have to go play the game, and then you have to kind of control what you can control and set the tone for the atmosphere. And so I was interested in Mike McCarthy saying today that these are difficult times, and he's said this before, that he actually embraces because it's an opportunity to face adversity and grow from it. I thought that was I think that is. It's an interesting and possibly very useful frame of mind.
Let me ask you something, Brad. When's the last time that you had to see this team really face this type of adversity?
Yeah, I was thinking about that today, Nicole. So in, well, of course, 2020 was an aberration because we couldn't get anywhere near them. But that was a really bad time. And then the last 3 years they've been in the playoffs. 2015, they went through 5 quarterbacks, I think. They had a lot of injuries, and that's when they wound up with the 4th pick in the draft, which is how they got Ezekiel Elliott. And I've seen way too many of them. They're not pleasant.
Yeah.
But you just have to. The difficult thing for people in our business is that there are questions that have to be asked. So you have to try to ask them in a way that will keep open the lanes of conversation. And guys don't want to talk about stuff, and we get it. And still there are things that have to be asked. And now we get to a season like this where we're halfway through and things look bleak. And you're just trying to think, how am I going to not ask the same thing week after week after week? And if I was in that guy's shoes, I wouldn't want anybody beating me over the head with stuff. And so then sometimes they will make themselves less available, which is a problem, because there are rules in the league that with the NFL Players Association and the Football Writers Association, they have to be available, almost all of them, at least once a week.
Yeah.
And the definition of available is a little squishy sometimes.
Thank God I haven't had to, deal with any of the issues of like not being able to talk to the players. That's why I made it so important for when I first got here last October. Is just kind of building those relationships first, and just saying, hey, how are you doing in locker room and things like that. Just so when times like this happen, it's like, go up there and talk to them, and then they'll kind of give me a little information. You have to have a personal relationship with someone, so that they know that your intentions are good and you're not trying to make them look bad. Sure. And
they will then be usually a little bit more understanding about what we have to do in situations like this, because we don't really want to bother them either. All right, so we really believe that Malik Hooker is just around the corner, so we'll get our first break out of the way. We're at Sidecar Social at the Star District in Frisco on the Cowboys Hour. Malik Hooker is going to be our guest, and we'll be right back.
Back to the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour, supported by Albertsons and broadcasting live from Sidecar Social at the Star in Frisco.
Welcome back to the Cowboys Hour. Thanks to all of you who come out to be with us. We appreciate you very much. Our guest safety, Malik Hooker, will be here momentarily. I'm Brad Sham with Nicole Hutchinson, who has these very important words to read to you.
Yes, this segment is brought to you by Albertsons. When it comes time to shop for tailgate favorites, go to Albertsons and Tom Thumb. Get 10% off your groceries every Dallas Cowboys game day when you wear your Cowboys jersey. Albertsons and Tom Thumb, the official supermarket and pharmacy of the Dallas Cowboys.
So you mentioned you were doing a collegiate program over the weekend. You've worked with college athletes a lot. What do you find to be the difference from the standpoint of your job between dealing with collegiate athletes when things aren't going great and professional athletes when things aren't going great?
This is a good question.
Thank you very much.
College athletes, I feel like they're not as cautious of what they have to say when it comes to speaking to the media, if that makes sense. I feel like, of course, you don't want to say too much at the NFL level. You got to keep it appropriate. But yeah, I think it's something that you get a little bit more from college athletes, I would say.
Until their coaches tell them not to talk.
There we go.
Or don't make them available at all.
Yeah.
Did you run into much of that?
No, not at all.
Never?
Never. But I went to an HBCU, and so I hadn't really had any issues with that. When I did cover LSU, you saw a little bit of that when they won the national championship that year. So you saw a little bit of that, but hardly much.
So were you covering Jackson State when Coach Sanders was there?
No. I was at Howard University, Bison, HU,
All right, okay. Because he has his rules.
Yeah.
He has his ways.
Yeah.
And sometimes I have the feeling that coaches want to be more protective of college athletes, and it might be different in the HBCU schools. It might be. And we could learn a lot from those schools. A lot of coaches at big programs want to protect and shield their players from anything nasty. Now you get into the pros, and you have certain responsibilities because everybody's got a job to do.
Yeah.
But there are some guys, and it amazes me, guys like Jordan Lewis, who we've had here, is one of the best examples.
Yeah, he's been great.
Zach Martin, Tyler Smith are some of the examples. Dak, of guys who they're not happy about it, but they are there, win or lose, all the time.
Yeah.
And then there are the guys who are not. So how do you approach trying to talk to them when things are going poorly?
There's ways still. I always start off with, like I said, how are you? How are you doing? I know it's getting ugly out there, but just how are you doing? And that kind of just opens them up just a little bit. And then we start to just talk about maybe things at home first. I butter them up a little bit. Then I go into, all right, what's going on? What's going on with this football, man? And then they start to kind of, loosen up a little bit. That's always the key for me.
It sounds very calculating.
Always.
I have teased Christy Scales, who you do some podcasts with, our great sideline reporter on the Cowboys Radio Network. And Christy's been doing this for a very long time. She's very personable, and she's truly interested in how people's lives are going. But she has a phenomenal knack for getting to be friends, especially with assistant coaches.
Yep.
She knows every one of their kids' and grandkids' names and what they're doing, and she will talk to them about that all the time. And then when the time comes for her to say, okay, tell me who's playing today. Tell me what's going on with that guy.
Yep.
Just so we know what to say, they will tell her. So I tease her all the time about using her ways. She says, no, I just am trying to be nice.
I'm laughing because this is so Christy. You gotta love her though. But she's so good with building relationships with the coaches, with everyone, really.
Yeah, and I think that's what's made her so successful for such a period of time.
Yeah.
So the schedule for the Cowboys, as far as we know, we haven't been given their daily schedule for the week yet, but normally things will change when there's a Monday night game. and Monday becomes Tuesday, and Tuesday becomes Wednesday. But this week, I think that's going to be a little less the case. They'll have their day off tomorrow, then they'll practice Wednesday and Thursday. And now it's time for everybody to please give a huge thank you and round of applause to Cowboys safety Malik Hooker.
What's up? How are you? Doing well.
Hook, thank you very much for coming. The traffic can be what the traffic is, and we are thrilled to have you here. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you for having me.
Yeah, you bet. You bet. So we were talking about, Nicole and I were talking about the fact that when things are not going well on the field, we acknowledge that here on this show. We will acknowledge there was a game yesterday. There's a season going on, and then we're going to get off into other things so that you don't have to dwell in that any more than necessary. But you are one of those who I think is uniquely qualified to put it all in perspective. I don't know how many of you know Malik's football background, so forgive me if I'm being redundant, but here's the 15th pick in the draft by the Indianapolis Colts, and then 2 really bad injuries, including an Achilles, where a lot of people weren't sure you would ever play again.
Yeah.
And now here you are on your 3rd contract with the Cowboys, is that right?
Yes, sir. Yes,
so
sir.
what have you learned about perspective from what you've had to go through just to be on the field?
Just to be resilient. Obviously, through life, everybody goes through adversity and, hard times, whether it be, life situations or, just stuff that's unpredictable. And, it's just about how you react to what you're going through. You either can react negatively and, put yourself deeper in a hole with what it is, or you be like, all right, this is what the situation is. I got to make something of it and keep moving forward.
And how do you? What's the speech you have with yourself when this is the first season like this you've had in a while?
Yeah.
Obviously, 2020, which was a complete aberration anyway.
Yes,
so,
sir.
is there a speech that you give yourself every day before a ball game, before practice, to make sure that your head's in the right place and you're doing what you're supposed to do?
I wouldn't necessarily say a speech. I mean, it's pretty cliche, but I kind of just tell myself to be where I'm at, be in the moment of whatever I'm doing, be intentional and being in that moment and just, trying to make whatever situation that I'm dealing with in that moment, purposeful, because I'm a firm believer in just opportunities, and I believe that they don't go to waste, they go to somebody else. So try to just, carry myself every day by waking up and making the best of the opportunity. Whether it's a win, lose, or a draw, and, not complaining about it, because at the end of the day, I'm fortunate enough to still be playing this game for 8 years. Obviously the injuries and stuff, a lot of guys wouldn't still be in the shoes that I'm in. So, I'm just grateful for the situation I'm in and being able to go out there and compete every Sunday. Obviously outcomes I wish I could change, but, that's the game of football. It has its ups. We played well these last couple seasons. It has its downs. We're playing pretty bad this season and trying to figure some things out, but the game of football, the good thing about it is, I get to wake up this Sunday coming up and I get to play again.
What's the message to
Hold on, don't play Sunday.
I mean Monday.
Monday.
I mean, I don't want you to leave your bucket empty for Monday night.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, Monday night.
Yeah.
What's the message to the younger guys in terms of staying resilient, especially in times like these?
I mean, like I said, it's the game of football. Everybody goes through it. I mean, even the greatest guys that played the game. I heard a story just recently about Tom Brady that, he came into the league his first couple years and he sat behind some guys, and then, he just took full advantage and the opportunity of, learning from the guys that was ahead of him, learning from the coaches that he's playing with, and, you seen what he turned out to be in the aftermath. So, it's just about, keeping your head down and putting your best foot forward every day and really, just enjoying being in this environment, because, you get to wake up every day, you're being around guys. Like for me, fortunately, I get to be around Al Harris, who not only is a hell of a coach, but, obviously the background he has in the game of football. He's a Hall of Fame football player as well. So it's just stuff like that, being around greatness and guys like that, we tend to not always look at for the simple fact of, we're doing our own thing and being in the football season, but come across so many great things that, we really don't get to appreciate for simple fact of us having to, always, be in the next moment of things that we're doing.
2 of your coaches said things today at their normal Monday availability that I'd like to get you to react to. Mike McCarthy, and this was not the first time he's said this in the last couple of months, he said he actually enjoys. He doesn't like what your record is and how you're playing.
Yeah.
But he enjoys the adversity because it gives you an opportunity to grow. And I think if a person can really practice that, it can be very positive in their life. Is that a frame of mind you can get behind?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just not even life with football in the second half of the season. When November, December football comes, that's when teams are typically playing their best ball going into the playoffs. And, obviously, we're a little down the ladder right now because of, obviously how we've been playing, and we took a, big hit yesterday. But we're still not out of the picture of being able to, make a run now these next couple games and being able to make the playoffs. And, when that time comes, and if it comes for us, which I think it will because of the steps we've been taking these last couple games, like I said, we just got to lock in and be in that moment. It all comes down to discipline. A lot of the teams that make it to the playoffs in the second half of the season, those are the teams that are most disciplined, most fundamentally sound, and, at that time playing the most selfless ball, because football is a game of 11. Not one guy can win the game. I don't care who you are.
and that's a perfect dovetail to something Mike Zimmer said today, which was that someone asked him what was it like to have Micah Parsons back. He said, yeah, he's a flamethrower. It's great. We obviously love having him. But he also said that the defense has been playing better since the bye, and he sees that as something to build. And you had a great first half yesterday. Do you agree with the way that you've been playing better since the bye? And if you do, why do you think that is, and how do you keep it going?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like, since we first, went on this little losing streak that we've been on, I feel like we've been taking steps forward each week and progressing to what we feel like we can be and what we want to be in this next half of the season. As you seen yesterday, we had trouble stopping the run early in the half of the season, and these last couple weeks we've been nailing on it. So guys is definitely taking the coaching and all the, the adjustments that we've been putting in the film room. And I mean, for us now, it's just about, taking that next step and just capitalizing on our plays we're making. We're getting a lot of big plays throughout the game, but there's a lot of plays that we're missing too. And those last little bit of plays that we're missing, those are key plays to the games. I know there was a point in the game the other day where we had a couple big plays. We got some stops. I think we had a forced fumble, and then I want to say the next drive we had a chance to being able to hold them to 3 points, and we ended up missing the sack. And I think, unfortunately, on that possession, they ended up scoring. But it's just stuff like that we really got to focus on these next couple weeks. And once we kind of get over that hump of capitalizing on those other plays that we're leaving out, I feel like, that's the last little missing piece to being where we need to be these next couple games going into the playoffs.
You talk about the adjustments in the film room. What has that looked like, if you can dive into that?
I'll say not necessarily like nothing major being changed as far as like it ain't like we're going out there and we're putting a whole different scheme in or anything like that. Like I said, we just been being intentional and, playing each down as that what it is. Whether it be first down, we're just treating it as that. It's just one play. Let's focus on it being first down. We get win this down, then okay, we get the second down. And most of the time, if we win our first down and we get guys behind the sticks on our first down, that's when a lot of guys, on the D-line you seen the other day, we knocked them out of the sticks a couple times, and Micah had a sack. I want to say Demo had a sack, and then I think Carl and somebody else had a sack.
Osa, Carl and Osa, yeah.
So it's like once we do that and, we just keep that mindset, which I feel like guys are buying into these last couple of weeks, which is making a big difference for us. I feel like that's going to put us light years ahead of, these last couple of weeks of what we've been.
Did it just take time to acclimate to a much different system than the one you've been playing the last 3 years?
I mean, not really, because this system we're playing in, for me, fortunately, I've been kind of playing in it throughout my whole career, so it wasn't much of an adjustment, but for me, but I know, like, for some of the D linemen, it could have been a big adjustment, because for Chauncey last year, he was, having to be a little, I think, leaner and stuff like that, and this year he had to put on a little more weight to go out there and play his position for us, and he done all that we asked of him, and he's having a heck of a year doing it, and he's been one of the guys that's been outstanding for us this year, so that's more the adjustment that it is, just guys buying into what their role is. And, like, the good thing about our defense is, like, it's no man above the other, so we're dependent on the next guy to do his job. And, I mean, it sounds funny because everybody's doing that. Like, everybody's depending on the next guy. But it's legitly, like, if one guy messes up on the plate, it makes everybody else looks bad, which obviously what's been happening these last couple of weeks and why it's been looking so bad. But throughout that, we've been making definitely a lot more strides and stuff like that, as you've been seeing. I don't know when the last time we had a turnover, but we had a couple more sacks this week. We had a forced fumble, we had a couple turnovers. So I'll definitely say that the strides is definitely happening.
Malik Hooker, the Cowboys safety, is our guest. We're on the Cowboys Hour at Sidecar Social in the Star District in Frisco, and we'll be right back.
Back to the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour, supported by Albertsons and broadcasting live from Sidecar Social at the Star in Frisco.
Welcome back. It's the Cowboys Hour. Brad Sham with Nicole Hutchinson, our special guest. Malik Hooker, the Cowboys safety, who is, come on, he came out on a night like this. Do a little better. Show a little love. Show a little love. There you go. Thank you very much. So Monday night game, how far in advance do you look at the schedule and think about what you're going to have to do?
To be honest, I don't. I kind of just take it day by day because me personally, I don't even know what I'm going to eat when I leave from here. So I like kind of just taking everything that I do one thing at a time and kind of focusing on whatever I'm dealing with in that moment. So I really, honestly, like I said, I said Sunday. So
I would like very much for you to teach me that trick to just only think about what's now and let the next 5 minutes worry about that. But you do have a Monday night game, so football is such a sport that creates routine, and players are creatures of habit. So when you have a Monday night game, and my understanding is, and I don't know, I haven't seen it yet, but my understanding is that the schedule is going to be a little different than a Monday night game last year. They're going to kind of tweak it toward the end of the week a little bit. But do you do anything differently during the week, during a normal 7-day week when you're getting ready to play on Monday night?
Yeah, I mean, I get a little more treatment and stuff like that I would normally get on a regular week, obviously, because we have an extra day. So I kind of try to spend that day tweaking like the little things that not necessarily that I might be banged up on, whether it be something I took a hit from or whatever the case may be, but kind of just try to, whether it be extra cold tub or extra film, I kind of just try to spend that last bit of time doing something like that to try to put myself in the best position to perform on Sunday or Monday.
What does your day-to-day treatment rehab kind of look like?
I mean, for me, obviously on Wednesdays and Thursdays, we're in the building a little longer, so, I mean, can't really get that much butt in the building. But the days where I'm able to go and get the most treatment will probably be like Mondays and Tuesdays, because Mondays we get done around like 2, so I'll go and get treatment other than in the building, outside of the building as well. And then on a Tuesday, I'm probably in treatment probably from like 8:45 till probably like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
On Tuesday?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we love hearing different guys' routines. So tomorrow, what will that entail? What different things will you be having done?
So I got to go and get a massage first thing in the morning. After massage, I either get like dry needling or like some soft tissue work because obviously you're not going to be able to get a full body massage and be able to hit all the spots correctly in that little bit of time that you have. So
Wait, so how early do you start?
I start at 9:45. My massage is at. I go in there a little bit before 9:45 and try to get some treatment before as well too. And then after, I'll probably get like some dry needling done and some scraping done as well, and like the cups that you see where guys be having like the bruising. After that, I'll probably take like a break and go home for like an hour or so and eat some food and whatnot. And then I'll go back to the spot. The spot's like 5 minutes from my house as well. So
good planning.
I'll go back there, touch up on whether if I do upper body the first half, then I'll go back and I'll just nail on the second half with lower body. Then after that, if I got time, depending on whatever my daughter has in that time, I'll try to make it back to the store and try to get in the cold tubs and hot tubs. And then after that, I'm kind of watching film and football throughout the rest of football and games throughout the rest of the day.
And has that routine changed over the years?
Yeah, I wasn't like that at first. When I was younger, I used to go by saying cheetahs don't stretch. So, when you're young, you feel like you can just wake up and go out there and run around and play. So treatment for me wasn't as, heavily in my schedule. But, after obviously the injuries and the older I got, I realized I wasn't Superman like I thought, and the recovery process as far as getting my muscles back took a little longer. So that's what made me kind of get to this, because I was like, man, I can't keep going out there, every time, for the weeks and not being able to feel like my hamstrings is the same as it was when I was 21, 22 years old. So I try to, obviously take notes from guys on the team too, because, I've been around a lot of guys that played in the league a long time, and guys that I feel like eventually have a chance of being in the Pro Bowl. Like I've been around Andrew Luck, obviously Steph Gilmore, who was here last year, Zach Martin, guys like that they ain't Pro Bowlers for no reason. So I kind of try to hear what stuff that they kind of take into their schedule that they feel like might have made them feel better for the week, and kind of just run with it. If it makes me perform well, then it's staying there. If it doesn't, then I'll try to change it and do something else that I feel like fits whatever benefits me for that week.
What's been like the craziest thing that you've heard from one of those players as far as treatment that you have implemented?
Getting in the cold tub up until my neck. I used to not do that. The cold tub it's a rough thing, because not only is it cold, but I don't get in just the cold tub where it's just like the floating and all that. Like I get into the ice tub where they're pouring the ice in there.
What does that do for you?
It's painful in the moment, but afterwards, I feel refreshed. I feel like, but
really,
to each his own. When I first got in the league, I was one of them guys that I felt like it didn't work for me. So then, as time went on, I started doing it more and more. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm starting to see the difference from getting in the cold tub and contrasting to not doing it for me as I got older. So,
and do we complement that with heat? Mm-hmm. It's like, how does that work?
Yeah, so the contrast is, so you'll get in the cold tub for like 3 minutes, then you'll get out and you'll get right in the hot tub for 3 minutes, and you pretty much just go back and forth like 5 times, And then after that, I mean, you go into the cold tub. The last time, for me, I go in there at the end for like 7-8 minutes.
So you're just basically, your mind is just basically slapping your body around saying, you will not pay attention to any of this. Is that about right?
Yeah. I mean, the good thing about it is, you take your iPad in there or your phone with music, and you kind of just try to just lock in on that while you're in there, so you're not worried about how painful it is. But once you hit about 2 minutes, 2-3 minutes of being in there, you kind of don't notice. Like, it goes away, you're just numb, and now you're just functioning as if you're not in there at that point.
See, at my age, the great thing is when I hear you talk about that pain of the cold tub, I feel that pain and I'm good. I don't need to go experience that. I mentioned this earlier. I just think it's so instructive for young athletes and people to be able to appreciate the journeys that you guys take. So you're drafted in 2017, right?
Sir.
15th pick in the draft by the Colts, and you're on top of the world.
Yes, sir.
You're Superman. Nothing's ever going to touch you.
Yeah, that's how it feels. When you're going, even like before you get drafted and you're going through the draft process and you're seeing, all the rankings of, where you're possibly going to be drafted at and what are you ranked in whatever position group you're in, whether you're the first safety, you feel like going off the board, or the second safety. Like, it's like the most amazing thing in the world because, a lot of people know who you are and pay attention to, whether it be the off-the-field stuff you're into or whatever the case may be. But when you get into the draft process and you're seeing so many people reaching out and sending you messages like, I hope you come to this team or whatever the case may be, like, it's special. There's nothing like it. So, yeah, you definitely feel like you're on top of the world.
And you were you the first safety?
No, Jamal Adams. It was me and Jamal.
Okay. But your speed was one of the things that people noticed about you at Ohio State, right?
Yes, sir.
And so was it in 17 that you hurt your knee?
As far as my ACL, I first came into the league and I played like the first 7 games, and I was playing well too at the time. I think I had like 3 interceptions back-to-back games. Playing pretty good. The team's winning at the time, and there was a play going into the half where a guy had like broken out on a run, and I'm chasing him up the sideline, and as soon as I went to playing, a guy kind of just dove into my knee, and I ended up tearing my ACL and partially tearing my MCL.
So what went through your mind at that point? Because you go from being on top of the world to then being injured.
That at first it really didn't bother me because I've overcame so much as far as because even coming out for the draft, I had bilateral sports hernia, and a hip labrum that I had done. That's why I didn't compete in the combine. So I was just more focused on just getting to the rehab part of it and kind of attacking that so I can get back and show people why I was the 15th pick as what I was doing before the injury.
By the way, the hip labrum, it was only a few years ago that I realized that we had labrums in our hips. I thought it was a shoulder thing.
Yeah.
But when you do something with that, careers have ended over hip labrum injuries.
Yeah.
And you did it in college.
Yes, sir, I did it. I actually played with it for a little bit because I did it, I want to say, like 3 games before the last game, and obviously we was going into the bowl season and everything, so I didn't want to have to sit that out because we had a chance of competing for the national title. So,
which you did.
Yeah, and I kind of just was taking Advil and whatnot to try to make it through the day and, pretty much accepting it for what it was and trying to recharge for the next day. I mean, it was – looking back on it, it was definitely hard because there was times throughout the week where I could barely walk and run because of how painful it was. And the pain, like, you don't feel it in your hip. Like, it feels like you have, like, a groin injury. So it felt like I had, like, a groin tear. So once I kind of recovered from that and then the ACL happened, I'm like, I made it back from the hip surgery. It's easy. So.
Right. A knee is nothing, right? Just give me a few weeks, I'll be good.
Yeah, so.
And then what year did you tear your Achilles?
2020?
Yeah, 2020. And that was another year that, obviously I fought back from my other injuries, starting to play well again, feel like myself. Think we played 2 games, and in the second game, it was like a 3rd and long situation. Like, it was like 3rd and like 25 or 3rd and 22 or something like that, and we was in loose cover 2. And I was the half safety, and I literally took like 2 walk steps back, and they threw like a check down, and I'm going to drive and go make a tackle. And as soon as I planted, like, I just felt my Achilles pop instantly. And I knew it was something severe because of what the situation was. Like, I was so deep back that there was nobody around me. So I knew it was something severe instantly.
Who was it that helped you kind of get through those times? Because, I mean, I know you said that going through injuries kind of was like, all right, like, I got this. But who was there to kind of help you as far as being that support system?
I would say my mom and my siblings. I got 4 siblings. I got 2 older sisters and 2 younger brothers. And I would probably say they was the ones the most, because through those, after I had did my ACL and I did my Achilles, that was kind of the harder time for me because of the fact of now, you know, it's injury after injury, and, you know, you don't nobody as
now
an
you're
athlete,
that guy.
Yeah, don't nobody as an athlete want to be the guy that they say, you know, injury prone or whatever the case may be. So now I'm kind of, you know, having a little doubts about myself. I'm like, you know, I played at Ohio State all these years. Was I there too long and it might have took a toll on my body? Was it me being a multi-sport athlete coming into, you know, college or whatever the case may be? It was just so many questions going through my mind. And then, you know, in that time, like, you don't really get to be around your guys that much. Like, you're dealing with going to the rehabs, obviously the doctor's appointments and stuff. So you're kind of separated from the team unintentionally because of the stuff that you have to take care of on your end to get back to being able to play. So now I'm feeling like I'm not a part of the team, and, you know, you're seeing those guys, but you're seeing them real quick. Like, they're walking to the meetings or the walkthrough, and you're kind of in there, and it's just like a high and by. So it makes you feel kind of left out. And, you know, definitely through those times I've learned that, you know, I can only control what I can control, because I was beating myself up a lot about it, and it was doing me no good. It was just making me unhealthy. It was times that I really would feel like I was pushing, you know, friends and family away because I wouldn't want to talk about anything other than, you know, football or what I would have been doing if I wouldn't have got hurt. So I say my mom and them, because she kind of just put things in perspective for me as far as, like, there's a lot more stuff going on in just life than you know, me tearing my Achilles. Like, as bad as it sounds, there's other people dealing with way worse. And I always try to look at every situation that I'm in that nature, you know, like, there's somebody dealing with worse, you know, it could be worse. Like, in that case, when I first tore my ACL, my, you know, MCL, like, they could have gave up on me then. I had a chance to come back and, you know, perform again after that. And in that moment, I knew I was going to have a chance to prove myself and prove to others again that I was able to come back from that. And I did it, you know, thankfully, gracefully, that Dallas took a chance on me, because I came here and they made the process of transitioning from another team and, you know, coming back from the injury so smooth that I really had nothing to think about but coming in here and just being who I was.
This is why we love Malik Hooker, everybody.
Absolutely.
We're going to take our last break, and we'll be back with more with the Cowboys safety when we continue on the Cowboys Hour.
Back to the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour, supported by Albertsons and broadcasting live from Sidecar Social at the Star in Frisco.
Welcome back on the Cowboys Hour. Brad Sham with Nicole Hutchinson and Cowboys safety Malik Hooker. We have a microphone here if anybody in the audience wants to ask Malik a question. We also want to remind you, we hope you'll come out to Sidecar Social next Monday night and watch the game. There's great screens, and there's 7 million of them. Have a great meal and something to drink, but don't expect the show. Watch the game and then come back on Tuesday night, because we'll be back here, Nicole and I, on Tuesday evening. So, Hook, you just mentioned Dallas giving you the chance to come back. And we've had this conversation before, but everybody doesn't get to hear every single one of those. I find it instructive if you would share with people what your level of confidence in yourself, in your body physically was when they signed you, when you came to Oxnard, and how that got back to where you realized you could play the game again at a level that was acceptable to you.
Yeah, it was definitely, I'll say difficult for the simple fact of, like, you're doing a transition of, you know, you're coming from a new team. You have expectations. You don't know what the culture is in the locker room. Because for me, signing, I needed to know what type of culture I was going into. I didn't want to go somewhere where I knew that, I don't want to say, because there's not no bad guys in the league that I've came across, but that guys are very unintentional and, you know, stuff that what it takes to win. You know, whether it be like little stuff like being on time or doing the extra meetings and stuff. And you know, I had came on a visit one time. It was me, JK, J-Ron Curse, and it was KZ. And when we came down here, you kind of just seeing how the flow of things was. And I liked, you know, what it was in the room, like the guys that they had.
And all three of you wound up signing that year.
Yeah. Well, we all three ended up signing that year. But guys like Donovan Wilson, you know, I got to meet him before officially signing. And just the energy he came off, like, you know, he was going to do whatever it takes to win. And, you know, that's the type of culture that I wanted to be around. And, you know, I ended up coming here and luckily, Jerry, he told them guys, you know, from day one to kind of take it slow with me, to kind of ease me into the practices and everything. So I really didn't even start moving and doing physical stuff until probably like the second week of a training camp. So that played a role too, because I still was kind of, you know, not sure, because I didn't do like 7-on-7 or full football activities still at that moment. Like, I was still coming back from my Achilles. So the only thing I had been doing at the time was just training with the physical therapist. So I'm not sure really full go how I was going to be moving around, if I was going to be able to keep up with some of the guys. And, you know, it got to a point that, you know, when I came on a visit and I knew they was going to sign me, I was just like, you know, I'm getting another opportunity. Just go out there and be yourself. Like, that's all I could really tell myself at the time, because if I would have went out there and I would have put all the load of having heavy expectations and stuff like that on myself in that moment, then maybe it would have been too much for me mentally, coming off of already being in a bad place mentally from recovering from that injury. So I just told myself, like, you know, football's still the game I've been playing since I was a kid, you know, treat it as that, and go in there, have fun, and be yourself. And it played off for me. You know, I went in there, made some plays throughout training camp, and the more and more I got reps and the more plays I made, it just was like, man, you're still the same guy that people thought you was in the 2017 15 pick. And, you know, from there on, like, just the culture of Dan Quinn in that moment too. Like, I always tell Q, and I still talk to him to this day, that, you know, I thank him, because, you know, it's tough in the league coming around coaches who truly believe in you, not only just on the field but off the field too. Like, Q was a mentor to a lot of guys on the team off the field as well. And when you have that connection, it makes it that much easier to go out there and play for the coach that you're playing for. So I'll say just between those two, and Q kind of giving me the confidence, that's what made me kind of into the player that I've been playing as here. You know, having that confidence from the coach as well as Coach McCarthy, because I'm from Pittsburgh too, with Coach McCarthy too. So, you know, just having those sit-downs with him, and, you know, him always bringing up just the hometown Pittsburgh tough football, and coming in there and just, you know, doing whatever you can to win that. You know, I knew I was in the right place in the right moment, you know, and I never looked back and took it for granted since I've been here because of that.
Has the culture changed? And if it hasn't, what's stayed the same about it since you first got here in Dallas? And how much have you appreciated the fact that it has stayed the same?
Yeah, I would say it hasn't changed. Obviously, you know, guys come in and out, of being on the team and stuff like that, like adjustments happen, players come and go. And, I would say that will be more of the reason why. Obviously we had a heck of a D-line room last year. We have a heck of a D-line room this year as well. But this year, we're banged up with injuries, So I would say the culture doesn't really change. It's just, the situations that come with football, whether it be injuries, suspensions, mental health guys taking off and stuff like that. That's more of the adjustment than the culture, because the culture is still the same. Guys still, believe in each other. And even now, like with us being in the predicament we're in with the 3-6, it doesn't feel like we're in that situation in the building. Guys are still coming in there willing to take coaching, willing to go to work. And it's just like guys are taking it as, this is what it is. We got to come in here. We got to still put this work in, and we still got to do what we can to show up on Sunday and try to turn this thing around. So it makes it that much easier to want to be here, and the culture to be so easy to buy into, because it's like there's always that hope. One play, one change can change this whole thing around, and that's what guys are looking at it as.
What's Mike Zimmer been like through the – did it take – he's very different from Dan.
Yeah.
Very different. I've known Zim for a long time. How long did that take to kind of get used to? And how much did having Al Harris still here help?
It actually didn't take too long to get to, because, from day one, he kind of made it, sure on what he wanted to get done. It was no.
You know where you stand with him, don't you?
yeah, like it wasn't no gray area. Like, coming in the first day, he said was, what people thought of us. They felt like we couldn't stop the run game, which was what we felt like as well. And he said, like, before the year is over, we're going to make that adjustment. We're going to try to turn that thing around. And, it was a little dark at the beginning of the season, but as weeks went on, like, we're starting to finally see that turnaround that he's talking about. Guys are starting to buy into the coaching and the little stuff that we've been putting on the film room and on the board that we need to get done. And these last couple of weeks, we've been knocking the run out the park. So we just got to keep stacking the days and keep building off of that and keep rolling with the momentum that we have right now on the defense. And, I know the offensive guys and the guys that we got on offense, those guys are going to start clicking here soon. And once that happens and we start playing, complimentary football, that's when things are going to start be looking up for us.
We've talked football, we've talked your journey, but we want to know, who is Malik Hooker outside of the Dallas Cowboys?
I'm pretty cool, I guess. I guess you could say that. I
Okay.
don't really do too much. I'm a big guy that likes going out to eat. Like, I like going to try different food spots. My friends know that I'm, pretty laid back, and I don't really like being too much around a lot of people. I'm not a real people person as far as, like, just being in open spaces with millions of people. That's not really my thing. Like, I like doing stuff to where it's more laid back for me. Like, I like going golfing and, bowling. Summertime, I'm a real big cornhole guy, too. So I like doing stuff that, I can kind of just be at home and in my own environment and enjoy myself.
Right.
Are you better bowler or golfer?
Probably golf. I mean, I'm pretty solid in bowling, but, golfing, it's kind of like, each year I'm getting better and better. So I think that's kind of going to be my next thing whenever I decide to hang the cleats up.
How long have you been playing?
Probably like 3-4 years now. I'm not that good to where, I'm finna go out there and play all 18 or however many holes somebody want to play. I'm not that good yet, but I definitely like getting out there and, just practicing my swing on the range and everything like that. So I'm getting, like I said, hopefully these next couple of years I really lock into it and really start to take it serious. But right now, it's just something that I enjoy doing on free time with friends.
Do you have your own set of clubs?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. I got my own clubs.
Come on, he's Malik Hooker. What do you think?
I just got my own clubs last year. I got my own clubs. I don't got my own bowling ball yet.
Okay.
We're working on that.
Working on
that. But, yeah, I definitely, them are probably the two things I like doing most.
Who is it? Is it Micah who's the big bowler? Somebody on your
Oh, man, listen, there's a couple guys on the team that think they're big bowlers.
That think they're big bowlers.
They think they're big bowlers. But, yeah, Micah's one of them guys, too. He carries his bowling ball in the car all the time and thinks somebody's supposed to be scared. And, guys like me, I can go and bowl with the alley balls and still do what I do, so I don't be too worried about it.
What's the highest score? Oh.
What's your high game?
Probably like 160. Probably like 160 something.
Hey, man.
And that was probably like my best day. Like, that was a one-time thing.
And that's without driving around with his bowling ball in the car. Hey, say thank you to Malik Hooker for being with us tonight, will you?
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you guys for coming out tonight.
Outstanding job. Nicole and I appreciate your being here as well. And don't forget, next week, Cowboys play on Monday night. We'll be back right here at Sidecar Social, the Star District in Frisco, on our next Cowboys Hour.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!